Howdo, my name is Andrew Hancock and I am a VMware technical architect from Yorkshire in the United Kingdom. I have worked with VMware since their birth in 1998, so that has been over 24 years I have been working with the VMware product catalogue. Some of my close colleagues say if you cut Andy in half, it reads VMware like a stick of rock from Blackpool. I have now written 134 articles and recorded 30 hours of VMware vSphere videos for Experts Exchange and received 40 Experts Exchange awards over the last 10 years working with the Experts Exchange community. I am currently the overall #1 point earner in the Hall of Fame at Experts Exchange. I am honoured to have been accepted into the VMware vExpert program since 2011 and more recently made a VMware vExpert Pro for the last 3 years. And welcome back to another edition of Hancock's VMware Half Hour, but this isn't going to take us half an hour, this is going to take us 5 minutes. And what I wanted to show you in today's session, in this session we're going to cover how to add VMware vSphere Hypervisor ESXi 8 hosts to our VMware vSphere vCenter Server 8. Now we're going to follow roughly the same video that I did for vSphere 7. It's not really going to be any different. So my hosts are already powered up, ESXi 001 and ESXi 002 that you would have seen me do in parts 1 and part 2. Installing and upgrading. I've already deployed my vCenter 8A and we're logged in to it with the administrator at vSphere.local account and the password that we've remembered and recorded. And I just wanted to show you that it's currently showing CPU exhaustion on vCenter 8. Now I've actually experienced that this is quite normal. Once vCenter server is first powered up, and it doesn't seem to make any difference how many cores you give it. When it's been powered up from cold, or you do a restart, initially, I've often seen a CPU exhaustion error or warning. So keep an eye on it. If you do find that you actually experience this a lot, then just allocate some more cores. If I just sort of kind of look at the so I'm just kind of looking here. You can see initially it's starting up here. It is almost flatlining the CPU, but then it does actually sort of kind of drop off a bit, drops right down to 0, and then it actually goes back up again. So we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, and as I've actually flicked back to vCenter server via the web browser, via the host client, via the web browser, you can see that it's actually disappeared. And we're getting this other VMware API endpoint service alarm. So I'm just going to acknowledge that, and I'm going to reset that to green for the moment. Obviously, we've got our honey colored amber banner at the top here, and there's going to big X out of that. So, okay, we're logged into our vCenter 8 server. Now, I'm not going to create a cluster at this time. I'm just going to add 2 standalone hosts to our vCenter server. And the first thing we've got to do is to create a data center. So I'm just going to right click at the top here at the root level, at the hierarchy, and I'm going to click new data center. So I'm going to call this our EE data center, followed by OK. So there's our EE data center where all our virtual machines and all our hosts are going to sit. So I'm now going to select add host, and I'm going to type in the host's fully qualified domain name. Followed by next, followed by the root password. Now, a couple of tips here. I have actually seen a couple of questions on Experts Exchange that have been asked where they have noticed that their hosts have become disconnected from vCenter server, and they've done everything that they can to actually try and get them connected. And what's actually happened is that they've reset the user account, the root user account. They've reset the password on it, and the password actually differs to what's been cached in vCenter server. So if you just go back to the host server and reconnect back to the host and specify the root followed by the new password, you should find that that cures that particular issue. So again, we've got this certificate warning because at the moment it's the VMware created certificate, so we can click yes. The vendor HP ProLight Microserver Gen 8. There's our build virtual machine. Obviously it has one single virtual machine at the moment, and we're going to click next. We're going to use an evaluation license at the moment, which is valid for 60 days, so we can use all the bells and whistles and all the functions within vCenter server and ESXi without applying a license. You can add a free licensed standalone host to vCenter server. So I'm going to click next. I'm not going to use lockdown mode. I'm going to click next. Our VM location, I'm going to basically EE data center, followed by next, followed by finish. And I'm not going to wait for ESXi 001 to finish. I'm going to go on and I'm going to add the next host, which is ESXi 002. Followed by next. Again, I'm going to specify root, followed by its password, followed by next. I'm going to accept the host SSL certificate, which has not been verified because it's using a VMware self-generated certificate, followed by yes. Again, no virtual machines at the moment on ESXi 002 at the moment, followed by next. Again, I'm going to select an evaluation license. I'm going to disable lockdown for the moment. VM location exactly the same, followed by next and finish. At this stage, when you actually see it 80%, what it's doing, it's actually putting out, pushing an agent and installing an agent on the host, so it can actually basically talk back to vCenter server. So that's it. That's all there is to do. I told you it's going to be a quick one. It's not 30 minutes. We've been probably running for about 5 or 6 minutes. So that's all I've got to show you in this video as to how we add hosts. And if we just quickly look here, then you can see our vCenter server that's actually running here. And we can actually look at the performance and the overview. All that data now will start being, the overview and the performance data will start being written into the VMware vCenter server database. And if we have a little look at summary, then we can have a little look at the now it's actually bringing in all those error messages that we saw before. ESXi shell's been enabled, SSH has been enabled, system login has not been configured, and of course remember this was an upgraded host, and then this was an installation from scratch, and this is actually basically complaining about the host is potentially vulnerable, and we're going to look at that in, I'm not going to reset that, we're going to look at that in another video. Now I'm just going to go back and show you, I'm not quite sure what it's complaining about there, but I'm going to big X out of that. It's possible. Now, a lot of people ask, what happens, how can I manage my host if my vCenter server's down? You can still connect directly to your hosts if it's connected to vCenter server. You can see here a reminder that it's connected to vCenter server at 192.168.182.138, which is vCenter 8A. And if we look at this, this is saying not connected, but I think that's probably because it's just not caught up yet. So if we just refresh that, I'm sure that's gonna change. I think it's just a refresh that's refresh. Okay. I did see that it was complaining before about it was going to time me out. It was going to, the session was going to time out, so it wanted me to log back in again. Interestingly, he says, you can normally go and log in directly to your hosts, so you can manage them both through vCenter server. But this one's just not playing ball at the moment. Just let me pause this and I'm going to come on back. Okay, I'm back. Just had to. Okay, my. Okay, I'm back. There does seem to be, I don't know, maybe it's early stages in ESXi 8IA, or maybe it's a Chrome browser issue that I've got. I just closed the tab, refreshed the cache, cleared all the cookies out, went back to the site, and all seems well again. So what I wanted to draw your attention to is that this is also saying connected to vCenter server at 192.168.182.138, and here we've got a reminder that says this host is being managed by vCenter server. Actions may be performed automatically by vCenter server without your knowledge. So one of the things I wanted to mention really is that yes, you can still connect to your hosts to manage them directly if vCenter server shouldn't be available, but I wouldn't really get in the habit of, if you've added hosts to a vCenter server, try to do all your management from vCenter server on those hosts when you've added them, rather than managing the vCenter server and managing directly. By all means, if vCenter server is goofed and you need to basically get at your hosts to manage them, then fine, log directly to those hosts and manage them. But once they've been added to vCenter server and vCenter server is up and running correctly, then get into the habit of actually managing them from vCenter server. Okay, so that's all I've got to talk about in this video, which was how to add VMware vSphere Hypervisors ESXi 8 hosts to VMware vSphere vCenter server 8. So thanks very much for watching, and come back soon, and thank you very much. Goodbye.